Hey everyone, this is Tony Reeves. If you like my content or have any suggestions, please let me know. And by all means, make sure you share. The only way I can get my word out is you help me get the word out as well. Real talk, you're going to have some financial things that you just did not know about when you were growing up. Your parents never talked to you about these things. But let me tell you about a few that caught me off guard that I learned and that you should learn as well, so that if they catch you, you know. Foreclosure. Okay, most people know about evictions, where basically you haven't paid your rent, they basically kick you out. You kind of know that one. Foreclosure is just as devastating. In both instances, you're basically unable to pay you're not able to pay the mortgage in terms of foreclosure. So what the bank is effectively doing is taking the property back. The proceedings are long. Unlike eviction, where they can do it in a little bit shorter period of time, usually the proceedings are a lot longer because they really want you to stay in the house and they really want you to pay that mortgage. Boy, if they have to take the home from you and go through those proceedings, it could devastate your credit and your ability to get another home in the future. And let me tell you something, there's nothing more nerve-wracking than having to go out to the mailbox and check the mail to see if you've got something from the bank telling them about something that they're going to do, where you've gotten 2 or 3 months behind on a mortgage, they've started foreclosure proceedings, you're getting notices from the court telling you need to come to the court with regards to different things. There's nothing cool about going through this. I represented a few clients foreclosures, and I can tell you, there's nothing cool about being in a situation where a house you've been in for a number of years this is your home, but you're now in a situation where you're not able to support yourself or support finance of that home, and you're doing everything you can to fight to stay in it. Sometimes the fight takes the best out of you. In foreclosure, nothing sexy about it. One thing about this pandemic that's really devastated people is we've seen a lot of change in financial situations. There's nothing sexy about being in a situation where you're working at a job that you think is secure, and then all of a sudden the circumstances of the job has changed and your employer has to make some hardcore decisions that results in you no longer being employed. And all of a sudden now you're either unemployed or you're looking for jobs that pay substantially less so that this way you can keep money coming to the home. Or you're doing your own business and you're now having to reallocate things in such a way so you can keep the doors open, but your revenue stream has been affected in a way that you didn't anticipate. A change in a financial status is not sexy at all. It's not sexy because of the fact that it puts you in a position of having to readjust your household expenses and lifestyle to adapt to the fact that you now no longer have the predictable income that you had coming in before. But then you have to also worry about that unexpected financial nightmare. Woo! I can tell you when we were at our house in Florida, our AC was dying. Let me tell you something. I didn't have a major credit card and I didn't have any money readily sitting in the account to take care of paying for $5,000 to replace the unit. So guess what I had to do? I basically hired a maintenance guy to come out. I said, I just need you to keep this thing moving so this way we have some cold air coming in the house. I think I ended up shooting about $1,000 worth of repairs to an old AC unit just to keep it blowing cold air. And they told me at some point you're gonna have to basically buy a new one, because by the time you factor in paying all these new parts, you would have basically bought another one. And I was getting close. Once I hit that 1,000 mark, even the repair guy said, "You've just shot over 1,000 in the last couple of months, yo. Start earmarking money so that you can get a new unit." But that was an expense I wasn't expecting, and it could be anything. Unexpected AC unit. It could be your car's breaking down. It could be something weird like a storm hitting and causing major damage to your house, and maybe your insurance doesn't cover it. Anytime you have an unexpected financial nightmare that you have to now allocate your funds for, that you had no desire to do so and no idea you would have to, can throw a huge monkey wrench in how you do things. Then we fall into these pay today, save tomorrow type of situations. And you say, what do you mean by that? You finally start getting a little bit of leeway. you start building up a little bit of a time. You know, your savings goes from $100 to $500, $500 to $1,000, $1,000 to $1,500. You can start to see the water part. You're like, all right. Then all of a sudden, something happens and you're like, okay, if I want to move forward in a particular direction, I have a choice. I can use money out of my savings today and pay for it, or I can keep saving for tomorrow. But then what happens is that there's nothing more demoralizing than just going through all that money to do something. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, let's say, for instance, you're going to move. Let's say, for instance, you're trying to move. I've had this happen to me where I had built up a good savings, but guess what? I had to move, blew through the entire savings, so you're starting over. That's the part that gets you. Because a lot of times what happens is that you get demoralized because you keep feeling like I never can save because I keep constantly having to start over and over again. So you get into these situations where you're debating about, do I pay for this now or do I not worry about it and start saving for tomorrow? And then people, as a 51-year-old guy, let me tell you about the age crisis. This may sound weird, but as you get older, different things happens with your body. You may not want it to happen, but it's probably going to happen. When they started telling me that at 45, I needed to be mindful of getting more regular prostate exams. When they told me at 50, I had to start worrying about having a colon exam. When they started telling you about all these things that happens as you get older and hit these earmarks, it's because your body is going to start doing things. And let me tell you, when you start getting in a situation where you're having more and more of these things, whether it be arthritis, heart problems, breathing issues, colon problems, prostate problems, breast problems, these are things that start to mature over time. Then you start realizing quickly that you're getting older. And at the time that you have to set money aside, it's becoming less and less. And it becomes harder and harder because the money that you're now using, you're using for other things, typically related to age or health-related issues that tend to manifest themselves when you get a little older.